Now, do you remember our conversation last Sunday? For those of you who were present, we were speaking about reincarnation, remember? And we were answering the questions that many of you had about reincarnation and the different types of things that cause you to believe in reincarnation. And remember, we wrote down some things on the board with regard to the different reasons why people on Earth generally believe in reincarnation. So let's revise some of them, shall we? And then remember, we had a few over on the board on this side of the board that we never got to. And I'd like to raise some of those with you today and discuss those as well. Remember, firstly, we talked about the whole concept of old souls. Old souls. And we explained what is the cause of the seeming cause of somebody seeming to be an old soul in comparison to somebody being seemingly a young soul. And we talked about how spirits are involved in that particular impression. So spirits overcloaking a very young person, usually they overcloak the person when they're very, very young. And we had the example, I think, Corolla, where is she at the moment? She can't see her. Oh, she's out the back at the moment, is she? And yeah, we had the example of Corolla with her childhood, her parents seeing her as an old soul. And then when I talked about what spirits were connected with Corolla all of that time, Corolla started conversing with those spirits and realised that it had nothing to do with her, but actually there were spirits with her that had given her all of the information that she was then reflecting back at her family. Do you remember that? So that's an explanation for old souls rather than reincarnation. Then we looked at this whole thing of past life regression. Those of you who weren't in the discussion last week, what we'll be doing when we get home in Australia is that we put all of our discussions generally on the internet, on YouTube. So if you search YouTube, there's a site on YouTube called Wizard Shack. Now, the reason why it's called that is because it's a friend of mine who does it. And on that site, pretty much all of our presentations are placed on that site, usually within a month to 2 months after we give the presentation. So if you want to see last week's presentation, if you missed that, come along, have a look when we'll be getting back in Australia probably sometime early March. And so sometime in late March, there should be the presentation last week on the internet. So my suggestion is have a look at the explanations that I gave about those things on that site. This is on YouTube. Yep. Everybody knows YouTube? Those of you who are internet savvy know YouTube. Okay.